Hi, if you were not here on Thursday, October the 15th, okay, this video is a little late. I will not count your assignment as being turned in late. If you go to week 9 and click on the sign in, it will take you to a Pear Deck assignment. Okay, so let me see here. Okay, your first slide is asking you for two things that you already know about slope, whether it's another name that you remember, whether it's how you can find slope, right, the formula or rise over run. Just go ahead and give me two things right here on those slides. Okay, our learning target for today is to identify key features from a graph, which would be the x-intercept, the y-intercept, slope, and the zeros. Okay, we did take some notes, so if you need to see those notes, I can send them to you as a separate picture, right? Just ask me for them if you'd like to see what they are. But in going through our checklist, right, the x-intercept is where my line would cross or touch the x-axis. Okay, you can locate it on your x-axis. It is a number on the x-axis, but it can also be written as a point. Okay, your y-intercept would then be found on your y-axis, right? You can locate it on the y as a number. It can also be written as a point. Okay, slope is your rise over run, or it is your slope formula, right? You need 2 points to plug into that formula. Some other names for slope are rate of change, or the letter m, right? That's what we've learned so far. And the ways that you find slope, I kind of talked about it up here, are either rise over run or using your slope formula. And then zero is another name for your x-intercept. So zero is just what is your x-intercept. It is the same as that one. Okay, so if we look here at our first example, x-intercept, remember, is where it touches your x-axis. So if we go and see my x-axis, it is touching here at the 0, right? So if I wrote that as a point, it would have to be, get that a little bit higher, 0, 0. If it asked me just for the number, then I can just say 0. Okay, my x scale is counting by ones, so I'm just going to put 1. My y-intercept, in this case, is also 0. That won't always be the case, right? It could start up here at the 10 on some of your problems. But so my y-intercept as just a number would be 0, right? My y-axis scale, okay, I would say is counting by 2's, right? Okay, so my y-axis scale is counting by 2. The 0, remember, of this graph is the same thing as your y-intercept, so it would be 0. And the slope of this one, okay, I'm going to go ahead and change it to pencil, change the size. Okay, what I would do is, remember we picked 2 good points, so I'm going to say I'm going to go up here to the 8. I'm going to go right, sorry about that, I'm going to go right 1. So if I counted those, right, how I showed you how we did the arches, if I counted those, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So it looks like my rise is 4, but because we are counting by 2 on my y, my slope is really, my rise is really 8. over 1, right? So if I simplified those, my slope would just simplify to be 8. Okay. Just paying attention to this real quick at when it says point, right? So we know where to locate our x-intercept. It's at 6. But if it asks for it as a point, you would have to tell me that it is 6, 0, right? So remember your x-intercept, whatever number it is on your x, that's what you would write as your x value in your point, right? Because remember it's x, y. Okay, your y-intercept this time is asking for just the number, so 40. Okay, your scale on your y-axis is counting by tens. Your scale on your x-axis, sorry I missed that, is counting by ones, right? The 0 is the same thing as the y-intercept. Just tell me what your x-intercept, I'm sorry. 0 is the same thing as your x-intercept. So you would just again repeat that it is the number 6. Rate of change, remember, is the same thing as slope. So you are finding your rise over run. I would say that another good point on my line would be, make this bigger. A good point on my line could be right here at the 40, the 0, 40. And then I would say right here at the 3 and 20, right? Because my line is negative, I would count it down first, and then I would count to the right. So if I counted my arches, I would have 2. But really that stands for 10. That stands for 20. 1, 2, 3. 20 over 3 would be my rate of change. You could simplify that, or you can change it to decimal, whatever you prefer. And what does the y-intercept represent? So I want you to try to explain what this number right here means. Right? So if your y-intercept is, I'm just going to write it down here. If your y-intercept is 0, 40, that means that your x is 0, right? So that means at 0 minutes, your y is 40. So that means that there are 40 cubic feet, right, of air inside of the scuba tank. So that means at the start, at the beginning, right, before he goes underwater or wherever he's going, your Drew's scuba tank has 40 units of air, right, before any minutes have passed. Okay? So if you go through the slides, you are finding the same information based off of the graph. Okay, and at the very end, you can drag this little blue dot and tell me how you felt about today's assignment.